Now then, Vinyl Monkey again. Hope you're alright. Welcome to another video. Well, I think what I'm going to do next, I'm picking up on one or two of these so-called competitions or contests that are run on the vinyl community. There are one or two guys, and yeah, it seems to be mainly guys on there. I'm sure there's some women, but I haven't come across them yet. But anyway, one or two guys who, I don't know, in a bid to boost up their subscriber numbers, I suppose, run little contests and offer vouchers, $40, 40 quid, whatever, Amazon vouchers and things. And I thought, well, why not? Win-win. You know, it gives me a until I work out what my next little mini series is. And by the way, thank you to the one or two people who've made some really good suggestions on that. There's a bit of food for thought there for me. But while I'm thinking about that, I can just pick up on these contests, and I don't have to think about it. I just have to find some LPs and ramble on about them for 10 or 15 minutes. So this one is from a guy called Royce in the House. He's from the USA, I don't know where in the USA, and he's running this contest, yeah, to up his subscriber numbers, but also to celebrate his 200th video that he's posted up on YouTube. So happy to enter this, and I've also subscribed to Royce and watched one or two of his videos. And his contest is, or his challenge is, to show 3 soundtrack albums. Sorry, firstly, to show 3 albums that have songs that are 10 minutes long or more. Well, that's not a problem in this collection, because loads of them, absolutely loads of them, have songs much longer than 10 minutes. So that wasn't a problem. The problem for me there was trying to pick 3 out. But anyway, that was the first one. The second one was to show 3 soundtrack albums. Now that is more of a problem, because I don't really collect soundtrack albums. I don't mind soundtrack albums if the artists themselves have had sort of total integrity, and maybe they've written new music for the album. It's specifically for that album, like Stevie Wonder's Journey Through the Secret Life of Plants, for example. What I'm not so keen on collecting anyway, I don't mind watching them on a film, is where they've simply collected a load of existing tracks and you know, put them on a movie and then translated them onto an LP for you know, just to cash in. Really, it doesn't seem to add anything for me. So I ain't got many soundtrack albums, so that was more of a challenge. And then the third one was to show 3 albums that are dominated by or led by, or they've got very prominent keyboard elements in those albums. So yeah, plenty of those in there as well. So I picked 3 out. So here we go. 3 albums with songs of 10 minutes or more. Well, what I thought I would do, since there were so many in there, I thought I'd pick 3 albums by one artist, and 3 albums by one artist that isn't known for the long song form, if you like. You know, it's not Jethro Tull or Yes or something like that. It's my old friend Van Morrison, and yeah, he doesn't do a whole load of longer songs, but here are 3 brilliant ones, and if you haven't heard these 3, I would urge you to look them up. The first one I'm going to talk about comes from Hard Knows the Highway album, and the song is Autumn Song. 11 minutes or so, I think, 10, 11 minutes, and it's just a beautiful, light, jazzy number. There's not a lot of lyrics in it. It's sort of fairly simple, straightforward, poetic sort of form. Very, very nice, as I say, very gentle. How does he make it last 11 minutes? Well, basically he goes through these passages in the song where there's only him singing almost in a whisper, with Jeff Labez on piano playing very, very lightly, probably 1 or 2 fingers, I don't know, I don't play piano, and the drum, I think it's Gary Malabar playing the brushes on a snare drum, I say, very lightly, and it's just very, very chilling, very laid back. It's absolutely beautiful. That's Autumn Song from Hard Knows the Highway. My second one is from the album Common One. I love this album. Now, there are actually two 15-minute songs on this album, one on each side. So on side one you've got Summertime in England, and side two, When Heart Is Open. I have read reviews of this album which describe When Heart Is Open as unlistenable. I think it's beautiful. It's really, really slowed down. But the song I'm going to highlight is on side one. It's Summertime in England. And this is a more upbeat number. And this is Van Morrison evoking the sort of poets through the ages, the English Wordsworth and Coleridge, Blake, T.S. Eliot, it's American originally, obviously. You know, and in a way it's a homage to those poets, and he just again he uses lots of repetition and sort of jazzy sort of tropes, if you like, and he delivers the line which I always love, and it says, "It ain't why, it just is." Absolutely brilliant. Van Morrison, Summertime in England from Common One. And then the third one, and my favourite out of these three, and one of my all-time favourite Van Morrison songs, comes from the album St. Dominic's Preview, and this is Listen to the Lion. 11 minutes, I think, 11 and a half minutes, something like that. And it hasn't got much more words in it than those four words, Listen to the Lion. There are one or two more words, maybe My Love Comes Tumbling Down, those, but hardly any words in the whole song. And Van, he sings those words in the whole gamut of emotions, from despair to passion to joy to longing. He's just absolutely. This is Van Morrison using his voice as an instrument, which he does often, or always, but perhaps to the greatest effect that he ever did. He shouts, he grunts, he groans, he sings beautifully. It's just an absolutely stunning track. And then towards the end, he unleashes the lion in himself. These sounds coming from deep within him. His own lion coming to the surface. Brilliant stuff. Van Morrison, Listen to the Lion. So there's me three albums with 10-minute songs. The next one was three soundtrack albums. First one I'm going to highlight is Home of the Brave, Laurie Anderson. Laurie Anderson, sort of New York artist, avant-garde musician, brilliant, some brilliant albums. Partner of Lou Reed, of course. And this was 1986, and this is a film that was essentially made as a recording of four concerts that were a mix of music, dance, singing, animation, electronics, and it is just beautifully, artfully done, as you would expect from Laurie Anderson. It's a gorgeous looking thing. I don't think it did anything at the box office, but it works equally well as a film or as an LP. It's stunning stuff. Laurie Anderson, Home of the Brave. My second one comes from 1959. This is Thelonious Monk, Les Liaisons Dangereuses. This Thelonious Monk is probably the jazz pianist I listen to most. I love his work. He's a brilliant and innovative and unique player and writer, and he was asked by the director Roger Vadim, the French film director, to compose the music for this film. The film is a I think it's a sort of remake of an 18th century play, basically where a couple help each other to have extramarital affairs, and but the music, I haven't actually seen the whole film. I've seen some clips from it, and the music does seem to fit in with that the vibe of the film beautifully. but it's just a cracking album, whether or not you've seen the film. So that's Thelonious Monk, Les Liaisons Dangereuses from 1959. And my third soundtrack is Shaft. This is Isaac Hayes. This is the brilliant Isaac Hayes. Love his albums from around this time. I often put the theme from Shaft on the jukebox. It's just one of those funky, catchy, brilliant, atmospheric instrumentals from Isaac Hayes. And this album, I mean, the film was about Private Detective. It was actually the first black director to make a sort of big budget studio film. It won the soundtrack won the Oscar. Isaac Hayes, the first black person ever to receive an Oscar, I think. Yeah, it's just a great atmospheric soundtrack. I think this one works better with the film than on the LP. There's some good stuff on here. There's Soulsville is good. The sort of long 20-minute jam on side 4 demonstrates how good the band are. Do Your Thing. And then, as I said, the brilliant theme from Shaft. But a lot of this is instrumentals that, as I say, really work well with the film. But as a double album, to be honest, if I'm going to put an Isaac Hayes album on, this one tends to be way down the list. There are many Isaac Hayes albums I would prefer to this. But anyway, that's my third soundtrack album, Isaac Hayes, Shaft. And then 3 albums where keyboards are very prominent, dominant, in the front, whatever. The first one I want to talk about is Procol Harum, brilliant British band. This is a Salty Dog. I think it was their third album, 1969. And there are 2 keyboard players on here, but the sort of background sound, the one that gives all the atmosphere to White Shade of Pale, which isn't on this album, but is the organist Matthew Fisher. But he plays alongside the singer and who also plays keys and piano, Gary Brooker. So yeah, Matthew Fisher, keyboardist with Procol Harum, and that's their album, A Salty Dog. The next one is the band. This is the album Stage Fright. This is their third album. Perhaps wasn't as critically well received as the first 2, but it's a real good album nonetheless. And they're another band with 2 keyboard players, an organist and a pianist. And it's the organist I want to highlight, Garth Hudson. There he is, the guy there with I think they've all got beards, but he's the guy with the biggest beard, the big guy with the biggest beard, Garth Hudson. And I did read somewhere that Keyboardist magazine nominated or suggested that Garth Hudson was the greatest rock keyboard player of all time. And I don't know, you can't measure these things, I don't think. But brilliant and unique. Got his very, very own style. Watch the film The Last Waltz and just watch his input into the band's material. Absolutely brilliant. Garth Hudson from the band, and that's their album, Stage Fright. And then my last one, I don't even know how to pronounce this, and I'm of Irish heritage, and most Gaelic names I can read, but I guess I might be getting this one wrong. This is Liam O'Monley, O'Maonlai, O'Manley, Liam O'Manley, not sure. Anyway, this is Hothouse Flowers. This is their second album, I think, Home. And I'm only familiar with their first 2 albums. I don't know, I'm not sure really what happened to Hothouse Flowers. They seem to come out of nowhere. I know Bono from U2 and everyone sort of got behind them and we've seen them and were so impressed, give them a sort of bit of a boost. They were appearing everywhere, Top of the Pops and on Irish and British television. Really sort of folky, Celtic tinged rock. So you could call it sort of soft rock with a Celtic tinge, but beautifully done. And O'Manley's or Monley's piano playing right up front, nearly every track. That's the sort of sound that dominates the album. So that's my third one. If you're not familiar with them, give them a look up, yeah. And if anyone knows, yeah, I don't know what happened to them, whether they're still going or not. I suppose I should Google it up and find out for myself. But anyway, that's Hot House Flowers and their keyboardist Liam Manley, yeah. Okay, so that's the challenge set by Royce in the house. I'll go in the hat with the others for the 40 or 50 quid record voucher, whatever it is. But what he did say was, if you show an album with a poster, you get a free second entry, you get another free raffle ticket. So again, I've got a few in there with posters, but the first one that came to mind was T-Rex and Tanks, and this is the poster from the middle of that. And have I got the right look? Yeah, there he is, Mark Bolan from T-Rex. And yeah, many people who are as beautiful as that don't really have the talent. He had them both. What a bastard, yeah. But sadly, he didn't live anywhere near long enough. But there we are. There's my poster. There's my second raffle ticket into Royce's contest. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Cheers.